Hey, everybody, it's Vanessa Van Dyken here, and you're listening to the Clankers podcast.
You're listening to the Clankers podcast with your hosts, Quentin Ferris and Horatio Gonzalez. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Clankers. Welcome in, everyone, to the Clankers podcast. I'm your host, Quentin Ferris, here, joined, as always, by Horatio Gonzalez. We've got a great episode for you guys today. Super excited to be talking to Vanessa Van Dyken. Horatio, what can the viewers expect from today's episode?
Yeah, so this was a really, it was a fun episode for sure. Loved talking to her, but it was different from our other stuff. Usually they're a little educational. We like to focus on the topic to help you guys improve your game. But this one was very interesting. She really opened up, and talked to us about, life on tour, being a professional disc golfer, and being a professional female disc golfer. A lot of behind the scenes, maybe what you don't see on Instagram, what you don't see on YouTube, and just very interesting. And hopefully you guys listen to it, and really listen to it, especially the guys. Hopefully you take something away from it and just be able to make disc golf, the great community that it already is, but keep it that way, especially with all of these new players coming in. I think we should, for those that have been in the community, set the standard for all these new players, and just continue to grow the sport. But it's a really good episode. I enjoyed it. But with that, let's bring Vanessa in.
Vanessa, welcome into the podcast. Super excited to have you on today. How are we doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me. How are you guys doing?
We're good. Definitely. I was telling Louis that today was the start of they do the league night here. They do doubles night, and somehow we always end up doing a interview on Wednesday. So missing out, but hey, I'm excited for this. Go next week, but yeah. Do you ever do league nights? Do you ever go out to those where you're from?
I never really do leagues, but sometimes we'll do doubles. It's super fun because it's I don't know. I feel like when you have a partner, it just makes it a lot less serious and more fun.
Yeah.
Usually
scores are better.
Yeah. Usually my partner carries me, so it's a good time.
Yeah.
Same. 100% same. Yeah. And then I also feel bad because I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just a wee little noodle out here. I'm sorry. I'll try to make one putt for you. I promise.
Yeah. For some reason, I have a really hard time playing doubles because I feel more pressure because I don't want to let my partner down. Yeah. And when I'm playing by myself, I'm like, it's okay if I mess up. It's harder for some reason.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And especially, it's weird. We've gone to play a couple of times, and it'll be like me and a buddy, or like my wife and a couple buddies. And it's really, they do another league night here where they'll team you up, someone that plays in pro division and someone that plays in like AM or rec, and they partner you up. And it's really fun because you score great, but like you're not doing anything the whole round. Like it's pretty much like, hey, like I'll go pick up your disc for you, or like carry your bag for you.
Right.
So like when I've gone to play, I try to partner up people based off their skill level, and it sounds kind of mean, kind of like elementary school, like pick the better kids or whatever, but I feel like it's more fun if you are partners with someone that's similar to your level. Otherwise the other person's really not doing anything.
Yeah, I always feel, or not so much now, but I used to always feel really bad when someone would get partnered with me because I don't know. Typically women throw less far, and I don't know. I would always feel like the guy was just bummed.
Yeah, and see, like that's not fun. Yeah,
but it's nice in San Diego. They did this thing where women get 2 putts inside the circle, so it was actually better. I feel like more places should do that.
They wanted a girl as a partner.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Cool. I think it'd also be really fun if, kind of like in tennis where, there's singles and doubles going on at the same time. I think it would be kind of fun if we saw the Pro Tour do some sort of doubles-esque style thing every now and then. I don't know. I just think that would be somewhat fun and entertaining to watch. Something a little different from what you get to see every weekend.
Yeah, that's what the All-Star
Yeah.
event was.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, not the whole thing. It was like half doubles, half singles.
Yeah.
But
Which, side note, 10 out of 10 made 0 sense in my mind.
yeah,
I don't know how
it's
you
kind
go
of
from
weird.
doubles one day to now singles. God, come on. Let's just leave it as doubles or singles or literally
Yeah.
anything other than what they did would have been better. So hopefully they fix that for next year.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it should have been doubles all the way or singles all the way or match play all the way, but it was weird mixing up the formats.
I don't
Kind of
know. I
like
think
the new major. Have you heard about it?
a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, they wanted to do they wanted to do like 5 or 6 rounds or something, and 4 rounds were traditional stroke play, and then the last 2 rounds are match play. I'm like, okay, just keep it all one format or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would be really fun to have a match play major.
Mhm.
I've got no issues with that. But like someone made this scenario, they're like, well, what happens if Paul Macbeth is up by 10 and then now all of a sudden they're back tied 0 and you lose in the first match play semifinal because you just happen to, miss 2 or 3 holes. Literally like when him and Ricky were battling it out. I think at the Belton tournament, Ricky was like minus 12 through 10 holes and Paul was like minus 7 through 10 holes or something crazy like that. And it's just like someone else just could potentially be having a better day than you and you lose because it's match play instead of stroke.
Yeah. Or someone could just have like a giant putt or a throw in, like, which is like kind of really unexpected. Like it was, if it didn't go in, it was going to be OB, but they win anyways. I mean, I agree. I don't have problem with a major being match play, but I think the whole tournament should be match play.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, and I think it's fun, doing that like the way GK does. They'll do the skins matches and stuff, and it's kind of after the tournament on the weekend, for YouTube, for entertainment, for like the fans. But I think doing that for like major events and stuff is kind of confusing to people that aren't in the disc golf world. They're like, well, like, do they normally play like this or do they play like this? And I think that if we want to grow the sport, to be like other legitimate, like, big time sports, I feel like other sports don't do that. Like basketball, they do like the All-Star weekend, and it's
Which is
just
also
that,
trash.
and it's for fun. But besides that, it's a standard, and like this is how you play a tournament. This is how, I think it can be very confusing.
Well, traditional stroke play is much harder on a player mentally, I would say, because I mean, every stroke counts, and if you run a putt, you have to make the comebacker. Whereas in match play, you are supposed to run the putt, and it doesn't matter after that. If you don't make it, like, then it's fine. Like it just goes back to 0 on the next hole.
Yeah.
Or it's like whoever wins the hole. But yeah.
True.
I feel like it's more respectful of I feel like, or at least for myself, if somebody won a major through traditional stroke play, that's more impressive to me because I know it's much harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do wonder if people will look at that major, because I think it becomes a thing either next year or 2023. I can't remember. But I do wonder if people will look at that and they'll be like, you might have 5 majors, but 3 of them come from this major alone. So I don't know, guy, that's kind of an asterisk right there. Just a thought. I don't know, but that was a great discussion to kind of start things off. Vanessa, I want you to take us through your disc golf journey, right? You've been in disc golf for a long time. If I remember correctly, you've been a PDGA member since like 2013. So almost coming up on 10 years. Like, where does disc golf begin for you?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. My cousin Jesse, he's near my age and we're like really close friends. And when he was like 24, he got a DUI, and he kept on like always asking me for rides to places. And he would always ask me to drop him off at the disc golf course. And I was like, one time I was like, hey, like, can I come play with you? That sounds kind of fun. I have nothing to do. And he was like, yeah. And first he took me to the park and he taught me how to do like an X step and how to reach back and everything, so I wouldn't completely not know what I'm doing.
That's
And
cool.
Yeah. And the first time I went out, I was horrible, but it was just so much fun because you're out in the park, just having a good time. And then I would play with them a few days a week. And then as soon as I started to get better, I just kind of got hooked to it. And one weekend we went on a Saturday to go play, and there was a tournament going on, and there were women playing, and I hadn't seen women play before.
Yeah.
And I was super excited. So I followed them to kind of see like what they throw like and everything. And it was amateur women. And when I was watching them, I realized that I throw farther than them and I make like bigger putts than them. And I was like, I can do all those things. So I signed up for the next tournament. It was at the end of 2013. And the first tournament I signed up for, I won. And I was like, okay, well, I want to see how I compare to other AM women. And so I'm from San Diego. And so there was the Memorial Championship going on in Arizona like a couple months later, and there were 17 women signed up. And it was an NT, I believe, at the time. And I signed up for that in the AM women's division, and I won by like 17 strokes.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, well, I want to see how I compare to all the like amateur women in the world. So I tried to sign up for AM Worlds, but because I didn't play, I only played one tournament in 2013, and it was at the end, and I didn't have enough points to get an invite. So I just signed up for the wait list, and I finally got in off the wait list, and I played AM Worlds, and I won that too, I think by like 5 strokes or something. And after that, I decided, okay, well, I guess I should go pro. And there was a A-tier going on in my hometown in San Diego. And at the time, this woman signed up named Owen Scoggins. And at the time, she was ranked 4th in the world. And she had just she had just placed 4th at Pro Worlds and FPO. And she was coming to San Diego for A-tier. So I was like, I need to sign up for that and see how I like match up with her so I can figure out where I kind of fall in FPO. Yeah. And I played that, and I beat her by 1 stroke in a sudden death playoff. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna like tour full time and see where that takes me. So yeah, and I've been touring full time ever since.
How long have you been on tour?
Since like 2015. So I won AM Worlds in 2014.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty quick. So that was a really fast, you moved up the ladder, I guess, relatively quickly.
I think my rating was 900 like pretty quickly after my first like few events.
Did you play sports before this? Like, were you just kind of natural to it, or was your teacher just really good at?
So I had played a few sports in school, like softball, and I did club swim, but that was it. And I wasn't really good at first. It was just I had a really good time with it, and I'd play a lot. And I don't know, I don't know why, but I did actually. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but have you heard of John Kirkland? He's like he used to be, I think, a world distance holder he plays like every genre of frisbee, but anyways, he's basically a legend, but he taught me a lot of what I know. So I feel like that's probably why I got good pretty fast, is because he taught me proper form. So yeah.
Nice. That's really cool. I feel like a growing theme that we've had with guests on the show is proper form really is key. So getting that form down can really elevate your game. Something that I think is always interesting to ask and just to hear the responses are, what were you doing before you went pro full time? Was there any kind of like indecisiveness in your head, like, almost that like anxiety of taking the leap full time into disc golf? What was that like for you?
So actually, that's very interesting. So at the time, I was in college, and I was doing all the prerequisites for a nursing program at San Diego State University. And Okay, so I had all the prerequisites I had to take. One of them was critical thinking and knowledge, and it was like critical thinking, knowledge, and reality. And that course just really changed my whole life and just everything that I thought, I guess. And one of the things I realized was what is important in life and what is really important to me. And basically, I came to the conclusion that I just want to live a happy life. And I really thought hard about the things that made me happy because I was working at the time and I was going to school full time. And the thing that I would do to be happy and escape everything was play disc golf.
Okay.
And so I don't know, it sounds kind of crazy now that I like look back on it, but yeah, I guess it was just that philosophy course that really drove me to drop everything I was doing, like school and work and everything, and then just dive into disc golf full time. And then also because I had success, I won every tournament I entered in as an amateur. So, and then the first two pro tournaments I played, I won as well. So I feel like that also gave me the extra like push that I needed to just go like full in.
That's awesome. And like much, respect for that. That takes a lot of courage, especially if you're in college for something like nursing, like that's commitment for sure. And to, do that 360 and do disc golf as a career. What did your family, your friends say, when you told them that you were going to drop out and go play disc golf?
So that's also so strange. I mean, it didn't really strike me at the time, but my family was okay with it. They were totally fine with it. I think it's probably because how well I did. And then after I won Am Worlds and then, and I beat Own at my first like pro event, I think they thought, like this is something that I could actually do. Whereas if I hadn't been successful at all, they probably wouldn't have supported it. So yeah, my family was very supportive, but a lot of friends thought it was a bad idea. So it was kind of like opposite of what you would think.
Two questions to that. One, are they still your friends today? And two, if you had to go back and do it again, would you make the same decision?
So, yeah, actually not all of them, but my best friends are still my friends. But the other ones, like my coworkers and stuff like that, who I was buddies with, I don't really talk to them anymore. And if I had to go back and make the same decision, I think I would have gone to school for other things and then pursued disc golf. And I think it would have been, I mean, not nursing, but I would have gone to school for things that would help me with disc golf, like just like photography and filming and computers and stuff like that, because it's so important. I feel like pros nowadays have to be like, you have to be a social media influencer, a YouTuber, like a photographer, a videographer. Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like you can't just play, you have to do everything, and your sponsors are really like pushing you to do all those things. And I feel like it's not enough to just be a good player. You have to be really into all of those things.
Yeah, that's really, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, real quick. As someone who's about to finish college right now, by golly, I wish I could have gone back and taken any kind of like media or photography or literally any of those classes, because that would have helped so much with where we're at right now. I'm glad you brought that up. That was really interesting, and I definitely connect with that for sure. Go ahead, Horatio. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah. But just quick on that, you said you wish you had taken on that. Just for anyone listening, to everybody, the good thing is you can learn all of that. It doesn't matter, if you're not going to college or how old you are. Luckily, like, college, doesn't mean that's like the only place to learn. I'm sure a lot of these pros who are doing it now or doing videos or anything like that for marketing or whatever, like everything is on YouTube or other places. Like you can, if you want to, you can still learn. Like that doesn't mean, you can't change your career or your knowledge of stuff. That's one thing that's always been a passion of mine just to continue learning. But I was going to ask, I don't remember what I was going to ask.
Yeah, actually, with my stimulus check, I bought a camera and some other things, and I've been relying on YouTube and the internet to learn how to work it. It's so hard. You have to learn so much. And like with the first day I got it, I tried to take pictures outside, and the like light exposure and everything, I was like, wow, okay. So I've been studying up at night how to work it. I can like take, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're only gonna, the only way you're gonna get better at that is just by doing it.
Yeah.
One of my hobbies is photography, and I've actually gotten to the point where I'm comfortable with charging people money, I guess, just because for my time, and they want to pay me. So like my photos are gone okay, but I've been doing it since like 2012. It was like with my tax return, I bought a camera, and so
nice.
All people see now, is your photos, and they're like, wow, that's really nice, but they don't see, I've been doing it for like 8-9 years, and just as a hobby. But the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And like after a while, like YouTube can only teach you so much. It's going to be just trial and error. But
yeah,
you'll get it.
I'm hoping.
Something I wanted to explore a little bit further was you were saying that the sponsor almost kind of like pushes you to make more content. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit onto that subject?
Well, in every contract I've signed this year, they've all had a clause on social media, how frequently they want you to post, and like they want you to share all their stuff and post bi-weekly, like promoting their products. And yeah,
that's interesting. I know Eagle, he was like driving to, I think, another event or something, so he was doing a Q&A on Instagram, and someone asked him like, what's one of the worst stereotypes of like disc golf, and he said that like everyone thinks our job is like super easy. I think people just see them as like, people that play on the weekends or play here and there casually, like that's what they imagine like the job is like, like you get to play disc golf, like what are you complaining about? But if you want to be at that level and you want to be winning and competing, it's like you say, like it's a lot of work. I always try to imagine what the courses look like on tournament weekends, because I'm like seeing content on YouTube from everybody. So I'm like, how many of these players are out there like with a video camera? Like it's just everywhere. Like that's what I imagine it as.
So it's super brutal, especially for FPO, because there's less money and really a lot of really good players nowadays. And you have to play really well in order to make money. So if you're having a off day or off weekend, that you're not going to cash. And no matter how, like any regular job I've had before, as long as I go and clock in and I'm there, even if I have a bad day, I get paid.
Yeah.
But in disc golf, if you're not doing your best, you're not going to make any money. And also with disc golf, you have to spend money in order to make money. So we have to pay for a place to stay the whole week. We have to buy every meal out, gas, and it's brutal. It's super brutal. And I feel like there is so much stress attached with that. And especially your sponsors, they just want you to win all the time, or they want you to play well, and they want you to post a lot. And you're like, okay, I need to be posting a lot, creating a lot of content. I have to be winning. I have to be a great player. I need to cash. I need to figure out where I'm going to stay. And just, it's the most stressful job I've had. And it's also, it's really hard because so many people disrespect you. Like if you meet your partner's family, or like your friend's family or whatever, like a lot of people have zero respect. And it's just like, it's brutal. It's really brutal. And also there's people on the internet, like, especially as a woman, they're like talking crap about the way you look, or if you are sexually attractive, or if you aren't, or just what. There's so many things that are really hard as far as your mental health goes. It's a really hard job, and it's amazing at times, but sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were talking about how, regular before we started, how regular, stroke play, it's all mental. When you have all
Mhm.
of that deal, going on in your head, like, oh, I didn't get a post up today, or I'm running short on money and we have to travel tomorrow and I need
Yeah.
cash. Like, I can't imagine, like being able to play through a whole weekend, with that on the mind. I go to play disc golf at the end of a work day to de-stress, but a
Yeah.
lot of you guys are going into a tournament, you're clocking in, and if you don't execute every missed putt, that's just adding to the pile of stress. So that's
Yeah.
very good. I'm glad you're talking about it. I mean, what, like, continue telling us other stuff, this is stuff that we don't normally hear, and this is the only way people will learn about it. So very interesting to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's one thing that's probably going to be important for players in the future is just mental health. And that's why it's really important when if people use a little more caution when they're commenting on videos and stuff. It's like there's so many things, like when people read comments and whatnot about themselves online, those things are going through their head when they're on live or when they're finally on coverage.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's also worse because if you hear someone say something bad to your face, like obviously that's hurtful, but when you have to read it and you say it to yourself in your own head, that's like a whole nother
Yeah.
um, level of, I don't know, it's really damaging because
No,
then you
I
start to
can
kind of
imagine.
believe it when you say it
Yeah.
to yourself.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, we thankfully have not experienced that a whole lot. We've had like maybe one or two people trash on our
Yeah.
brand, and we have been fortunate enough to be like, it's only one or two people. Let's just laugh it off. Why do you keep coming in? But like, I think that's a lot that people don't realize that, somebody might just be randomly commenting a thought that they have
Yeah.
unknowingly damaging somebody else who's already stressed to the max. Because I mean, like you were mentioning, I mean, I cannot imagine having to go to my other job right now and knowing like, oh man, if one car doesn't get the right food, then where am I gonna eat next week? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I couldn't
Or there's
imagine the
like
stress level.
people like filming everything you do while you're at work and then like thousands of people watching and people commenting on how shitty or sorry but like how crappy you are at your job, and you're already struggling. You're just like,
Yeah.
oh god.
You got to stop reading the comments. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
I
have,
don't I
yeah.
don't do it anymore. Just for my own mental health. It's just
Yeah.
it's not a good way to spend your time.
Yeah.
It just
It just makes things worse.
You just got
And
to have someone filter it for you, a partner or whoever. They only read the good comments. That's what you
yeah.
need. They skip through the bad
Oh,
ones.
I mean, I don't think that there should be any censorship. I think people should
Mm-hmm.
be free to express themselves, but it definitely, I've seen, like, I can't remember what company it was, but they censored the bad comments out, so it was only good ones. And I was like, oh, that's really nice of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
something, sorry, Horatio, something that you were talking earlier about college and how that critical thinking course has kind of like changed the way you thought about things. Something that I'm in right now is an ethics class, and it's made me put myself in other people's shoes significantly more. And I feel like if everyone in the community could do that, that would be beneficial for the community.
Yeah.
Even, we were talking earlier on the podcast about the doubles when we were starting off, and like, oh man, I hate feeling like the one who is letting the other teammate down. Well,
Hmm.
if you're the pro playing with that instead of, having a bad attitude, let's have a better attitude, have a better mindset, work with your partner. And I'm not going to name names or anything, but during that all-star event, there were a couple of people that by the end of it, I could almost tell that they were extremely frustrated with the other person, which you have
Yeah.
every right to be frustrated with the other person. That's okay. But I guess it's more of, let's take a chill pill. Not everything is so serious. Let's be a little bit
Hmm.
nicer to everyone. And I don't know, see what we can continue to build.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also just, it's a little different with the like all-star weekend. I mean, with like regular doubles, I really could not care less. I would probably just have a beer and have a good time and just pay the $5 or the $10 just to have entertainment for a few hours. But the Disc Golf Pro Tour event, that one's just so much more stressful because, like it affects your contracts and your sponsorships and all that. So I think players have all this stuff on their mind that they're stressed out about and need to have in order to get better support on tour. So they don't have to worry about cashing, like stuff like that. So I could see why people get really upset with their partner because they're like, hey, I'm working hard and I'm executing shots. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, are you not like doing field work as much or what,
That makes sense. And do you think that's part of the reason why, because I mean, I don't know what your contract looks like or other players, but, I feel like a lot of these pros are doing YouTube on the side for additional income to, it is extra work. You have to go out there, record and put it together.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can get good at it, like some of the players like Brody, Simon, they're making money from it. And, that takes a little bit of that pressure away. Do you think that's why a lot of these pros are on YouTube trying to create like a side income?
Yeah, absolutely. And it gives them bigger contracts as well too, because it promotes their sponsor. So it's beneficial to everybody like involved with that player and the player themselves. But it's kind of hard now though. I feel like it's easier for those bigger guys to do content, but there's now the Disc Golf Pro Tour. I don't know if it just started this year, but if you're, let's say, or I'm sponsored by Discraft. So if I play Dynamic Discs Open, I'm not allowed to make content like promoting any Discraft discs.
Oh.
So, and if I do, I have to pay them.
Really?
And I just feel like that's kind of weird because I'm like, dude, I don't make enough money to pay you to like try and make tour funds. It's just kind of crazy. I just don't feel like we're at that level yet to do that.
Is that kind of similar to, and maybe this is exactly what you're talking about, the first tournament this year, the Innova, if I'm remembering it correctly, you had to like pay Innova like $2,500 or something like that. Maybe it's significantly less. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was wrong information, but someone from Innova told somebody that they had to pay $5,000 to do that. But it's actually, I think you're supposed to, I don't know exactly because I didn't read into it because I was like, okay, I can't afford to do that.
Not doing it.
Yeah, I'm just not doing it. But it's with the Disc Golf Pro Tour, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So that's if you were just to like make like a video for YouTube, like just to promote it.
Yeah, like let's say I went to DDO and I was going to make a YouTube video, like playing my round. I can't like promote. I can't be like, this is the Meteor or whatever, or like go buy my Tour Series Meteor or whatever.
Well, you can do that on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Go buy my Tour Series Meteor.
Tell us, let's get, I feel like we've had a good discussion. Let's talk a little more upbeat. Let's back up. A little bit, more like positive vibes. Talk a little bit about your Meteor. How that, how it happens. You're sponsored, and then what disc you decide to be your signature disc. How do you go to the factory? Which one you decide and stamping? Take us through the whole process.
Okay, so we're allowed to pick like any Tour Series disc that you want that isn't already taken. So they don't want two people to have the same disc. But I chose the Meteor because I wanted to choose a disc that like I can throw max weight with mid-ranges or putters, but I can't throw max weights with like fairways and distance drivers. So because whenever they make the Tour Series, they're all max weight. They don't do any lightweights. And I also wanted to choose one that any skill level player could use. So whether you're a pro or you literally just picked up a disc today, the best disc is a understable mid-range. So that's why I picked the Meteor. And I also love the Meteor already. They have a few different understable mids, but I felt like that was the most strategic choice for me.
Nice. And the stamp is looking really fresh this year. So if you guys haven't seen
I
it,
like that. Yeah.
you got to check it out. I like the stamp because I feel like last year was just your guys' name on the disc for the most part. And this year
Yes.
there's more of like a stamp and the name. So I'm a fan of that. I think the stamp looks really good.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's smarter too because that way it kind of promotes the player and the mold. Because last year, I mean, it basically just had our names really big on it, and you couldn't really tell what disc it was by just looking at it. So I think it's better this way for Discraft and for the team players.
Cool. And so those, like you said, those help you guys out also. You guys get like royalties off those signature discs, I'm guessing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's probably like the biggest thing that helps me on tours, the tour series discs. And then also the fundraisers. I came out with like every player comes out with a fundraiser where they design their own stamp and sell it. Those are really fun because you get to choose what the stamp looks like, whereas the tour series, they decide for everybody.
How many of those fundraiser discs do you get? And is it like just like a one-time opportunity, or can you continuously be like, hey, let's do another run of the fundraiser discs?
So I get 200 a year. But unfortunately this year, because there's a shortage, I have to like break it up. Like I would like to order all 200 at once and then just go on tour and sell them as I go. But I have to do them in small batches. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It means business is doing really good, but it's crazy. I feel like disc golf has grown so much since COVID, and it's just insane. You can barely buy discs now, and discs are. I don't know if it went into effect already, but all the prices went up at Discraft.
Really?
Really?
Unbelievable.
What like what's the change gonna look like? How much is a standard, like, I don't know, like a ESP Buzz gonna cost?
I mean, I can't remember exactly what they were before, but I think it's like a $1.50 more or something like that. Because when we put like the fundraiser orders in, it'll say how much each disc is, and they renewed the form and it shows how much each disc was. And I remember we were looking at it the other day and we're like, whoa, I just can't believe that if I wasn't sponsored, I would not be able to afford to buy all these like 25 discs, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would hate to be a new player starting out because when I started, I mean, I sucked. And the course closest to my house, there's a pond on it. Like half of the holes are along a river. So when I started, it's just straight hyzers on everything. And so the way the course is set up, that's where the river is. So when I started, I was losing a lot of discs and buying.
Yeah.
They say, oh, disc golf's not that expensive if you're good, once you get to that point. But once you're starting out and you suck, you lose a lot of discs and you're buying. So I've gotten to a point where I don't lose as many, but yeah.
I know. I will. And a lot of times it's a lot of work to write your name and number on every single new disc. And then I'm always kicking myself when I lose one and it's just totally blank. I'm like, there's no way anyone's going to figure out how to get that back to me.
True. Now, something that I think is kind of interesting, and we've seen pros do it before, do you have your own kind of set of discs in your bag where, like, if it goes into the water, you're jumping in after them?
Yeah. I mean, there's always just that disc that beats him perfectly. And I mean, I left my favorite disc in a field. I feel like that's the worst way. I mean, I can kind of deal with it if I threw it into a lake or something and I'm like, oh, I had a bad shot. But it feels even worse for some reason if you just leave it somewhere and you know where it was,
Yeah.
Shouldn't have lost it. And yet it's gone forever.
Yeah. Like, I just left it.
And you have certain discs, that like it hits you or But like today I went to play and we were on hole like 16 and this guy that's always there, he's like, hey, he screams out my name. And I'm like, yeah. And he like throws this disc at me. And it was like my Discraft Raptor, one of my ESP Raptors. And I was like, like, I didn't even know I was missing this. Like, I have no idea. It must have been a day where I was doing like field work at the course. And so I was throwing like 6, 7 discs and just forgot to pick that one up. But I think it's
Yeah.
been days since I lost it. Like, I didn't even know it wasn't in my bag.
Wow.
But just because
That's
it's not one
funny.
of those discs that I like,
Mhm.
religiously throw.
I know sometimes I get lazy and I just like, I'll make sure my favorite ones are in the bag and I'm like, I'm fine.
Yeah. What does your sponsorship? I'm always interested by that. You get like 20 discs a week. You get like a certain allotment per year. What's that look like?
You get a certain allotment per year. So like standard would be like 100 discs per year. And then you can always, there's a bonus structure. So depending on how you finish, you'll get a certain amount of money for the place. And you can always switch that out for, you can either get cash or you can get like discs at a discounted like wholesale price.
Hmm.
So that's kind of more like sometimes like if you win like a B tier or something, instead of taking the small cash, you can just be like, okay, I'll just get 30 stock discs with my stamp on it and sell them each for like $25 a piece. And then that's a lot like better money for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
that's something I was going to ask. Like your allotment, you said you get 100. Those are for you to do with whatever you want. Like you're allowed to just sell those.
Yeah. They're for tournament play, but you can
Right.
sell them if you want.
Because that's a lot of discs, I feel, for a year, to go through. If you didn't
Yeah.
sell them.
I mean, usually like if I do clinics, I'll let people like I'll charge $25 per person and then they get to pick a disc. And a lot of times it'll be either like a fundraiser or something from my allotment that is extra.
That's really
Nice.
cool.
Something,
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but something that I've kind of wondered is, how much do sponsors kind of help you get around disc golf? Because I feel like there could be the notion that, oh, you're sponsored, you never have to pay to play an event again. They'll take care of all your funds for you. But, earlier in the episode, we were talking about how, you got to pay for your gas, your lodging, all
Yeah.
that stuff. So is it really just, hey, you got a free ticket, you got to figure everything else out? Or how does that kind of structure work?
Typically, I would say like 98% of the time sponsors will pay for your entry fee and then everything else you're on your own.
Cool. That helps out a lot. 'Cause I've seen, just being nosy, I'll look at the signups for the pro divisions, and some of those tournaments are expensive for the pros.
Oh yeah. I mean, at the end of the year, you're spending almost $6,000 on entry fees.
Yeah. But that's also goes into the pot for the prizes. So I guess that, that kind of makes sense if you're winning. That evens out, I guess. But I think we're good. Unless you guys have any other topics, I think we're good for the ace round if you guys are ready.
I've got just one more question I want to ask before we do get into the ace round. You talked about this a little bit earlier, and I want to know something because I can't necessarily put my shoes in your shoes, right? How can the disc golf community continue to help women in disc golf? How can we, put more cash into the FPO division? How can we support women in disc golf? What's the best way that we could do that?
I feel like the best way to support women, like if you like pro women on tour, is just to buy their tour series and their merch and stuff like that. Other than that, like women in general, I would say, I think a lot of times women, like I said earlier, I used to feel bad when I would go to doubles events because I'd feel bad for whoever was my partner. It would be cool if people are running a doubles event or something, you could do something special where if someone's partner is a woman, they get an extra putt inside the circle or just stuff like that. So then people are rather excited to be partnered up with a woman rather than disappointed. But just stuff like that, I think, is really helpful to make them feel welcome and wanted.
What about just playing casually out on the course? Because, I'll go out to the course, whatever, and they'll be like, the other day we were going there, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, look, it's just two ladies, like, playing by themselves, which is rare.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, you see out there, with their partner, with whoever.
Right.
It's rare to see, just a girl out there playing by herself or with a friend that's also a girl. Like,
Yeah.
what do you see out there, I hate to say it, but most disc golfers are really nice, but you're gonna have like guys. But what can everyone do in the community just to make girls feel more comfortable to be out there just by themselves playing?
I think it's nice. If I used to play by myself a lot, and it's always nice when people offer if you want to play with them, or if you're on another hole and a woman has a good shot, you can be like, hey, like, nice shot or whatever, and make them feel like it's cool that they're out there, and they feel like it's something that they want to do again. And I think one other thing that's like kind of negative or whatever is oftentimes people might say something about the physical appearance of a lady, and it can be super uncomfortable. And when you're really uncomfortable, you tend to avoid things. So stuff like that. There are some women who like it, and that's great. But I think just before you make comments like that to where the woman will hear you or can read it about herself online, I don't know, I guess just use a little more discretion in that apartment. I think in that department, I feel like that would really help women feel really comfortable.
Nice. Well, Horatio, I think we're ready to start this ace round off. Why don't you go ahead and take the box and start us off?
All right, Vanessa. So you are taking, a brand new player, whoever you like, or maybe think back, maybe back, you're taking yourself when you started. What putter, mid, and driver would you recommend that person to buy?
For absolute beginner, I would say probably a Fierce. It's a super understable putter. And for the mid-range, I would recommend a Meteor or Soul. And for a driver, I would definitely start off with something like Avenger SS. Yeah. I feel like that would really help. I wish I started off with those. My form would be so much better. But that'll like force people to learn how to throw on clean angles.
Yeah, I like those discs. My girlfriend just started to use my Avenger SS, and she's been absolutely ripping it up with that thing. Yeah. So that's a really good shout right there. Our second question we got for you is, what is your favorite course you have played, and one course you would love to play?
So my favorite course I've ever played is Konopiste in Czech Republic. It's amazing. It's like hole 1 is the whole course is on the castle grounds, and hole 1 and 18 are right next to Franz Ferdinand, the Archduke of Austria, his castle. And it's amazing. There's so much history, and it's just so wide open and beautiful, and it's a fairly easy course. So that one for sure. And the country is super cheap, so it's cheaper to spend a week there than it would be any tournament in USA. And then one that I want to play, there's one, I think it's I can't remember. I feel like I've played so many courses. There isn't really any that I feel like I want to, but maybe just a course in Florida. I've never been to Florida, so that would be cool to check out.
That's surprising that Florida isn't, on the pro tour.
Yeah.
I feel like they have good weather almost year round. Like, why not?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. They used to have the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship there. I was really hoping they would keep it there because I've always wanted to visit Florida, but oh well.
Yeah, that's crazy, I've never been to Florida either, but yeah. All right, our next question. One tip you would give to yourself once, you just started playing right at the beginning. What's the one tip you would give?
Oh, there's so many. Oh, okay. I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to narrow it down because there's so many things, but I guess the main thing would just be when I first began, to learn backhand and sidearm at the same time, because that's something I just started, or sidearm is something I just started learning like in the last year. and it would be so much nicer if I had it like developed like my backhand.
Nice. Our fourth question we got for you is, what is your favorite memory playing disc golf?
My favorite memory playing disc golf was probably either winning Am Worlds or Kanopište.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Last question. What is the biggest mistake you see new players make?
The biggest mistake new players make?
Yeah, you see.
I think the biggest one would be buying like a high-speed driver before they can throw like 250 feet.
Yeah.
Because then they can just throw, like if they buy a force or something, they can just put it on this like crazy angle, like super like a roller angle, and it'll still fly far and then flex out. That's really cringe worthy, I suppose. So I guess like we were saying earlier, just start off with understable putters and mids and then work up to those discs when you get more power.
Nice. Well, Vanessa, it was a pleasure having you on. I know I learned a lot. I imagine the folk at home learned a lot as well. Where can they follow you? Instagram, subscribe to your YouTube, anything like that? Where can the people connect with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. My handle is just my first and last name, Vanessa Van Dyken. I'm also on Facebook, and I'm going to be on YouTube, but I'm still learning how to work my new camera. So when I get better at that, subscribe to my YouTube.
Cool. And if you got any last comments, sponsors, or anyone you want to thank before we head out, this is your chance.
All right, just want to thank Discraft, and all my other sponsors are really lovely too. And mainly I want to thank you guys for reaching out to me and allowing me to come on your podcast. It was really lovely meeting both of you, and I hope to see you guys in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Not the conversation we thought we talked about having, but I'm really glad we had it. We learned a lot, and hopefully people can take something from it. And we like to have variety on here. And thank you so much for your time, and good luck on the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers, and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.